What's up, everybody? Jason High back here with another video. I'm just reacting to the Kansas City Royals sweeping the Detroit Tigers today, winning today's game, 9-3. The Royals have won 6 in a row now, and they improved to 32-19 as the record. They are 13 games above 500, which, as we talked about in the previous video, this is the highest that they have been above the 500 mark since 2015, the year that they won the World Series. So the Royals are off to just an incredible start. They're off to their best start in franchise history through 50 games. Today's the 51st game, and it's really amazing to see them playing this well. Once we've gotten to this point in the season, we're almost a third of the way through the season. The 50-game mark is really when a lot of people start to make their evaluations about a team. What is this team? How good are they really? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? You look at the Royals right now, and I think their strengths are very obvious. Their starting pitching is fantastic. Cole Ragans today struck out 12 batters in only 6 innings, which is awesome. And I don't say only 6 innings as in 6 innings is bad. This is common day Major League Baseball. Starting pitchers only go 5 or 6 innings. 7 or 8 innings is really a fantastic start from a pitcher. So there's nothing wrong with going 6 innings. But striking out 12 hitters like that, gave up 0 runs. He lowered his ERA down to 3.40. Cole Ragans has been awesome this year. He's arguably the Royals' ace, but they have Seth Lugo in the rotation, of course. Brady Singer has a sub-3 ERA, which is really fantastic. By the way, just for my viewers that aren't as into baseball stats, ERA means earned run average. Just a quick snippet there. That is per 9 innings. So any ERA below 4 is very good for a starting pitcher. And so the Royals right now are getting great help from their starting pitching. Their bullpen is good enough. Their hitting is good enough. Their defense is very good. Their hitting, really, Bobby Witt Jr. has been the star, as has Salvador Perez. Those two are playing like MVP candidates right now. Bobby Witt Jr. in last night's victory had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs, which is just incredible to have that from a player his age that plays the shortstop position. That contract they signed Bobby Witt Jr. to in this past offseason is aging really well right now. So anyways, the Royals have beaten the Tigers 3 games in a row. They have swept that series at home. They also swept the Oakland A's before that. So the Royals have continued to prove this season that they can beat teams consistently at home and they can win enough games on the road. But they're really going to have a tougher stretch of games coming up here in the next 3 weeks, and I want to go over it just a little bit. So they're about to start a series tomorrow with the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays this year have just been kind of around a 500 team. They haven't been great, but Tampa Bay is always a team that has given the Royals problems. They have been a consistently great franchise for a long time, in spite of their stadium problems, their attendance issues. The Tampa Bay Rays are a team that I want to see the Royals do well against. And then after that, I'm looking at their schedule right here. So after the Tampa Bay Rays, the Royals play the Twins. They got them for a 4-game series. That's a division opponent. Anytime you play a division opponent, it's big. The Twins got off to a very bad start this year. Then they won 17 out of 20 games, which is really an incredible run. And then lately they've tapered back off a little bit. So the Royals are still ahead of them in the standings by a few games. The Royals right now are closing in on Cleveland. Last I checked, they were still a game and a half back, but after today's win, they might be able to get that to within a half game. So you got 4 against the Twins. That's at Minnesota. That's a really important series because you want to keep those teams in the division down. You want to consistently beat those teams. After the Twins, they've got a series at home against the Padres. That one, the Padres are a 500 team right now. They're 24-25. They're in the National League, so I wouldn't call that necessarily an important series, but it's another series at home against a team that is mediocre or worse that you want to capitalize on if you're the Kansas City Royals. After that, you've got a big series with the first-place Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland. That's a 3-game series from June 4th to June 6th. That is going to be a huge series. That one, the Mariners again after that, and then they've got the Yankees. So why do I bring all these series up right now? Well, this is a good stretch of games here where the Royals are going to be playing competent opponents, and I want to see how the Royals do against these teams. Now, it's not to say that if they do poorly against these teams, that means the Royals aren't any good. Not at all. Baseball is a war of attrition. Baseball is a marathon. There are still 109 games, 111 games, I think, left this season. There's a lot of games left still. Even though it feels like we've played a lot thus far, there's still almost over 2/3 of the season remaining for the Royals. So they still have a long ways to go. So I'm not going to sit here and be hitting the panic button if the Royals do poorly against Cleveland in that series or they don't win against the Yankees. I'm not going to be sitting here hitting the panic button. But I do look at these series, and I do feel like these are very important series coming up. Right after the New York Yankees, they've got the Dodgers. So there's another team that, again, kind of like I was talking about with the Padres, this is a National League opponent, National League West opponent. So you could argue it's not quite as important of a series as playing the Guardians or the Twins or even the Tigers. However, the Dodgers, like I was talking about the Rays earlier, have been honestly baseball's golden standard for about the last decade. The Dodgers have been a great team, and I want to see how the Royals stack up against them. I think they're going to stack up quite well. Starting pitching travels. That's what they always say. The old adage in baseball is that you can win if your starting pitcher gives you a chance. And the Royals starting pitching has been doing that lately. So yeah, I look ahead to these Royals games coming up, man. And I'll be honest with you all, I'm excited. I'm super excited to watch these games coming up. You know, the Royals really, for me personally, I have been following them this season, but it's always kind of been a little bit peripheral because, you know, you just want to wait and see, all right, how real is this? Is this real? I mean, we're talking about a team that only won 56 games last year. The Royals right now are on pace to win over 95. If the Royals stay on pace that they are right now, this will be the greatest single season turnaround in Major League history. And the reason I say that is because the greatest modern era, that's the wild card era is what they call, turnaround, was actually the Arizona Diamondbacks that had a 35-win improvement year over year back in the early 2000s. If the Royals are able to continue this pace they're on, or even close to this pace they're on, they're going to challenge that, because really this is just not really precedented. This isn't something that happens typically. You don't see teams that go on these massive improvements from one year to the next. Typically it's you've got to go the long route. You've got to build your farm system. You've got to draft. You've got to develop well. You've got to make good trades. You've got to sign free agents. You've got to do that stuff. But looking at the Royals roster right now and the way that they're winning, you know, it's kind of interesting. You kind of almost can see, in hindsight, of course, 2020, why this team is so good. You've got a guy like Bobby Witt Jr., who's the number 2 overall pick, right? You've got Brady Singer in your rotation. He was a first-round pick, really good pitcher coming out of college. You signed a couple of starting pitchers this offseason with Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha that have a recent history of being good. And then you've got, of course, Salvador Perez, who is really having a hitting renaissance. I mean, I love Salvador as a player. He's awesome, right? I mean, he's always been a fun player to watch, great defender, good hitter, great power hitter. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that I thought he would set a potential career high this year. And right now he's on pace for that with on-base percentage plus slugging. OPS, in other terms, that is what I like to refer to it as. For those of you that listen to this channel, OPS is a stat that I kind of like to use as the all-encompassing stat for a player's offensive value. And right now, Salvador Perez's OPS is over 950. .950, which is incredible. That is amazing. That's by far better than his career average. His career average OPS is 760. So, yeah, Salvador Perez, though, has shown this propensity in the last few years, going back to 2021, in which he hit 48 home runs, to have this later career offensive renaissance. So I'm not saying that I think what he's doing right now isn't real. I think it very much is. But it's just not something that you would have expected coming into the year. Other than those two guys, you know, Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez, you've got Maikel Garcia. He's starting to get some hits. He had 4 hits the other. Vinny Pasquantino has heated up over the last week or two because of a really poor start. He's really heated up after that. So, yeah, the Royals' offense is hitting well right now. They're getting it going. They're moving through things. So I'm excited to see them against this slate of first-place teams coming up. It's going to be very exciting to see. That's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Have a good one.